Hi everyone, a very good morning to all of you. Today is 20th of October and let's start with the Hindu newspaper analysis. And guys, you can download explainer notes of this particular session from Telegram channel. Link for Telegram is given in description box in YouTube. Now, first of all, let's understand the overview of entire newspaper so that we can understand which articles are important. So here we have Delhi edition. Now, first article that we have here is talking about over 2 million trapped in Gaza as attacks continue. So there is no stopping, no respite in US Israel Israel Hamas issue that is going on, and the attacks have continued. However, guys, you are not required to track it every day for the newspaper. Then after that, Rift in India blog as Congress goes it alone in state polls. Again, not important article for examination point of view. Southwest monsoons withdraws from India. Then guys, further we have the city section. In city section also regional articles, etc. Tenders, advertisements have been provided. So directly we will reach to editorial section, because before the editorial, much relevant articles are not there. So let's read directly to editorial. Now, on editorial, we have this article, A Shape of Climate Justice in a Warming India. We'll take this particular article for examination. Now, this article talks about that 13 days have already passed since Hamas Israel issue confrontation attacks have started. Now they should come to a diplomatic table and should try to find out a lasting peace solution. But in this capacity, nothing much has happened till now. Then moving on, we have here an article, an opportunity to recast India as a food system. We will take this particular article for exam point of view, that what it is providing. Nithari fiasco. So recently we have seen the Allahabad High Court verdict, where Allahabad High Court had acquitted the two men who was accused of killing the young women into the Nithari village of Noida. Now article is saying this particular thing, that there have been certain lapses in the way investigation has been carried. That particular thing needs to be taken more seriously. However, for exam, much relevant substance is not given in this particular article, so no need to go to in too much in detail for exam point of view. Then moving on, are southern states being punished for their success? We'll take this particular article for the examination also. Then text and context, why SLLR need to be reformed. Now, what are these SLL, what issue has come? We are going to take this particular article. Okay. Then moving on in this particular in this particular direction, why are earthquakes frequent in Afghanistan? We'll see this article for examination. Then contextualizing violence in defense of the action genre in recent cinema. No need to go in this particular thing, guys, for the exam point of view. Modi retaliates supports for Palestinian statehood. Okay. So when we talk about India, India has always supported or has kept forward the stand of two state. Okay, where Palestinians right to have their own state, we have always supported. Okay, we have always supported, and the same thing is now being taken up also. Okay, then guys, moving on. After that, Supreme Court issues notice to police on arrest of NewsClick founder. So we have seen few days back that NewsClick founders were arrested on the charges of UAPA. So in this direction, this article is talking. Then further, moving on, again this entire page, Gehlot denies opposing ticket for pilot loyalist. PM Modi pens letter to voters in MP. Political statements, political article, no need to go too much in detail. Okay, then further moving on, guys, in this particular direction, center says measures in place to check price rise. Okay, so basically government has extended recently the export restrictions on sugar, wheat and rice, so that in a domestic market inflation does not increases. Fine. Then moving on, major regional disparity in overcoming cancer through survival rates are up, though cancer survival rates are up. We'll see this study which has recently been published in Lancet. Will take this particular article. Then after that, coming to the world page, China to work with Egypt to help stabilize West Asia. Fine. So recently, now basically China has also supported the two-state solution, and in this capacity, diplomatic diplomatic efforts will be made by China. India is also making the diplomatic efforts. Okay. But one thing I want to tell you, that every day you are not required to track day by day development in Hamas Israel issue. Okay, Russia Ukraine war. Every day one article will come, but no need to go and follow that every day. Then further moving on, China building its nuclear arsenal faster than previous estimates, USA. Now, actually, guys, this particular thing has happened that in the past few years, nuclear arsenals of China has expanded, and this is a China's attempt to become a military superpower. Okay, so this is something that is going on. After that, Pakistan court grants bail to Nawaz Sharif. Then, guys, business page, India share of growth to rise to 18%. 18%. Okay. Then we have here some of the corporate trends. Sports page is there, and in last when we go, we have science page. So today in science page we have article seeing the magic of AI in applications in ophthalmology. In ophthalmology, so in eye treatments, okay, in eye care, in eye surgeries, how AI can help. All these dimensions are provided. So we'll take this particular article for exam point of view. We'll see the applications of AI under GS paper number 3. So this is, guys, the overview of newspaper, and now let's discuss all these relevant articles one by one in detail. Okay, there is one question, sir. Please make me understand that why we ignore political articles. Okay, yes, Sonam, understand this particular thing that we, for the as you are following this initiative, specific objective of this initiative is UPSC examination. And for UPSC examination, these political parties, what they are saying, what allegations are political parties making against each other, political statements, etc., are not important for examination. They are not asked. Fine, political theory is important. Okay, political concepts, the issues related to constitution are important. Important constitutional amendment bills are important, but every political statement is not important for exam. Is it clear or not? So one very important thing while you're preparing this exam is learn the art of filtering out nonsense information which is not needed for examination, because you have limited time, you have limited effort, so you have to filter out very carefully. Fine, that is about it. Okay, in fact, in life, filtering out plays the most important thing. How you filter out people from your life, how you filter out non things which are not important in your life but still consuming a lot of time. For example, wasting a lot of time on social media, how you filter out that, how you filter out bad foods from your diet. All these things are the most crucial things in your life. The same goes with the newspaper also. Okay, moving on. Moving on, let's start with the discussion. So guys, you can download this synoptic notes from Telegram channel. Okay, I already told you that Telegram link is given in description box. Now every class we start with a GS quotation that can be used to complement our articles. Now today we are going to take this quotation from Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar says that justice has always evoked ideas of equality of proportion of compensation. In short, justice is another name of liberty, equality, and fraternity. Justice is another name of liberty, equality, and fraternity. In fact, if there is no fraternity, no equality, no liberty, justice is empty. Justice cannot be realized. So these are the three pillars: liberty, equality, and fraternity, which makes just which helps in realization of the idea of justice. Okay, that is about it. Now, moving on, and let's take okay, by the way, this idea you can use for GS paper number 2 polity related answers, as well as for essay you can use it. Okay, so GS2 and essay you can use it. Now, why SLL also need to be reformed? Okay, now first of all, before going in this article, let's understand what is utility of this article. So this article we are going to see for GS paper number 2, for with GS paper number 2, governance reforms, criminal justice system reforms. Governance reforms, criminal justice system reforms. Now, what is criminal justice system? Criminal justice system includes our policing, our judicial setup, and our prisons. So reforms on any of these elements comes under the broad heading of criminal justice system reforms. Now, first of all, let's discuss little bit of basic background information. So guys, we have seen this development multiple number of times in the past, that government has recently proposed three new bills to replace the criminal laws in India. For example, government came out with Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita Bill 2023. It will replace the IPC 1860. Then Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Samhita Bill 2023. It will replace the CRPC 1898. Now you can see that both of these laws are more than basically they are more than 100 years old. Okay, more than 100 years old, and these laws, they have still a lot of colonial hangover, still have a lot of colonial hangover. Okay, so we need to reform that. And then Bharatiya Saksha Bill 2023, it will replace Indian Evidence Act 1872. Okay, so to replace all these bills, to replace this Indian Evidence Act, CRPC and IPC, these three new bills were proposed. Now, this article has actually made a very good point and an excellent point they have made. They said this particular thing that, okay, you have come out with this particular bill, but there is no discussion about reforming, or there is no discussion about amending special and local laws. Special and local laws. What do you mean by special and local laws which are not being reformed? Let's understand this particular thing. First of all, guys, here article used one word, causa celebre. Causa celebre. It means something which has become controversial. So these three bills have become controversial. And one controversy is also because there is no discussion about special and local laws reformation or their amendment. Now understand this thing. Basically, guys, along with the offenses that are mentioned, let's say in Indian Penal Code, okay, there are special laws. For example, POXO. POXO stands for Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act. So basically, sexual assault, sexual harassment, rapes of children below the age of 18 years, if is being committed by any person, then that will be dealt under POXO law. POXO law. There is a law such as Prohibition of Child Marriage Act. Now that is only dealing with the offense of child marriage. Then there are other laws, for example, Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. There is this example of Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. So the acts of terrorism will dedicatedly be tried under the UAPA. Then there are many state level laws also that are there, which have been created at the level of state. For example, you might be knowing about one particular law, that is Mokoka. Okay, what is Mokoka? Mokoka stands for Maharashtra Control of Organized Crime Act. So many states also have enacted their own criminal laws. Okay, many states have also enacted their own criminal laws. So hundreds of such special laws for special offenses are there. For example, for money laundering, there is PMLA, Prevention of Money Laundering Act. For crimes against children, sexual abuse of children, there is POXO Act. Okay, for child marriage, there is a PCMA. For child labor, there is a PCLA. These are separately another category of law. We call these as special laws. And then there are local laws which are created by the state government. For example, okay, for example, Gundas Act is there, and many such kind of a state level acts are there. And when we talk about today, large number of cases are actually filed under these special and local laws. Okay, and if here I give you some data, then according to crime in India statistics for year 2021, it has been provided that 39.9% or roughly 40% of all the cognizable offenses, they were registered under special and local laws. Cognizable offenses are those crimes, these are the serious offenses in which arrest can be made without a warrant. Arrest can be made without a warrant. So, for all these particular, now 40% of the cognizable offenses that have happened, they are registered under special local laws. Now, many number of times, these special local laws, they have also come under a big debate also. What type of a debate? It has been said that many number of times, they encroach on fundamental rights, they encroach on individual liberty. For example, UAPA. Recently, we have seen this particular thing that under UAPA, founders of NewsClick were arrested. And it is being said that it is an attempt to undermine the freedom of media, undermine the free media, free speech. So many number of times these particular laws, they become debatable also. Okay, it is said that they violate individuals' rights, individuals' liberties. Now here it has also been provided that many ambiguous and very vague definitions have also been taken up in these special laws. For example, they define the terrorist act, unlawful activities, organized crime syndicate. These words they use, but they have not properly defined it. And under them, large number of people are being arrested. Many number of a time for political purpose also, these particular laws are being used. For example, against journalists, against dissenters. This is also happening. Okay. Then further article says that even Supreme Court have noted this particular thing. Now, there is one judgment that has been mentioned. Let's understand what this judgment is. So, Supreme Court in P. Mohan Raj, Supreme Court in P. Mohan Raj versus M.S. Shah brothers case. referred to Section 138 of a Negotiable Instrument Act as a civil sheep in a criminal wolf's clothing. Now, obviously, this will not make much of a sense if you don't know what this Negotiable Instrument Act is, what this Section 138 is. By the way, Section 138 is a very popular section. This mention, basically, see, Section 138 deals with the check bouncing related issues. Check bouncing related issues. For example, I have to give money to a person, and I say to this person that I'll give you money, but by the way of check. And I give a check to this person. Let's say I have to give 10 lakh rupees and I gave a 10 lakh rupees check to this person. Now, if you see, check is just a piece of paper. Person does not knows whether I have 10 lakh rupees in my account or not. There might be the possibility that I have only 10 rupees in my account and I give a check of 10 lakh rupees. Okay, and in lieu of that check, I have taken some product or some service from that person. Now, when that person will go and will will deposit that check in bank, will know that okay, there was no money in the account of Mr. Sahil and I have taken a check. So, to reduce these kind of such instances, to ensure that there is no such misuse, okay, there is a Section 138 which makes check bouncing as a criminal offense. Now, Supreme Court observed that technically and ideally, this offense should not be this offense should not be a criminal offense, it should be a civil offense. It should not be a criminal offense, it should be a civil offense. It is a civil sheep in the criminal wolf's clothing. It has been made criminalized. Okay, this is something that has happened. Then after that, moving on in this particular direction, so it has been said that if you are bringing the amendment in these three laws, good, but it will not solve any purpose if you will not amend the special laws that are there and local laws that are there, because majority of cases, majority of complaints are being filed under that particular category only. So this is a suggestion that has been given in this particular direction. I hope guys that you have understood it. Now moving on to next article. Seeing the magic of AI application in ophthalmology. Ophthalmology. What is ophthalmology? Ophthalmology deals with the treatment of eye diseases, deals with the treatment of eye disorders, eye conditions. Okay, so they all will be dealt by an ophthalmologist. Okay, and the branch is called as ophthalmology. Now, here there are some arguments that have been given that why artificial intelligence in the ophthalmology is becoming so important, and I just tell you one thing, you can use it, you can use these points not only for ophthalmology but medical sciences as a whole, medical discipline as a whole, you can use all of them. Now let's discuss them one by one. Let's discuss them one by one. And we are going to discuss this in GS paper number 3. Find application of cyber technology, application of computer technologies under science and tech will take this particular article. Now, first of all, what do we understand by AI? What do we understand by AI or artificial intelligence? Okay. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, fine. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, what artificial intelligence is? Artificial intelligence is particularly a branch of computer science that focuses on creating computer systems, computer programs, computer softwares, computer algorithms that can mimic the functioning of a human brain. These computer programs can do the tasks such as thinking. Okay, these computer programs can involve in problem solving, can learn, can reason, can understand natural languages, and on the basis of understanding of natural languages can perform certain tasks which includes or which entails some thinking abilities. Now article says that the aim of artificial intelligence is to mimic and replicate different aspects of human intelligence, and we see that many applications of AI today have come. For example, chat GPT, which is a chatbot. You can ask any question from chat gpt and chat gpt will reply you in a human like language. Often it will look like that you are talking with a person. So as you talk to another person, for example, if you have to take a let's say you have to take some advice with respect to a diet, you go to a dietitian. If you have take some advice, let's say for some other thing, you go to, let's say, a medical advice, you go to a doctor. And when you interacting with a doctor, with a coach, with a dietitian, you feel that they are giving you information, but they are giving information on the basis of their intelligence. In the same way, chat gpt, on the basis of huge data set that it has been fed with, on the basis of that, it is giving you customized information, and therefore it is mimicking the human thinking. Okay, human thinking. Now, this artificial intelligence's application is in many fields. It is in many fields. Okay, for example, it has a lot of application even in industries. For example, artificial intelligence programs can continuously analyze the sensors data that is being sent by the sensors, and can predict it in advance that when a machine is to be serviced, so that it does not breaks down. Okay, and it does not goes into the downtime. So this is something that is done. Now, when we talk about artificial intelligence, how in the ophthalmology, or how the artificial intelligence can be used in medicine. Now, first of all, AI can be used for retinal disease diagnosis. Retinal diseases are those diseases which impacts the retina of an eye. So basically, artificial intelligence, now these softwares, these programs, what they can do, they can read retina's images, they can read the retina's images, they can read scans, and they can read these scans and these images from so many different dimensions, from so many different angles, that they can expose if there is an underlying disease, if there is an underlying condition. And even they can predict in well advance, they can predict if there is a possibility of some diabetic retinopathy, if there is age related muscular degeneration, if there is a glaucoma. All these particular things can be predicted, can be detected very swiftly and very fastly. Then automated screening, early detection of eye diseases can be done. Then customized treatment. Now see, every person will not behave similar to every medicine, every treatment therapy. Why? Because of their complex medical history. So by reading or by so in these programs, you can feed a person's reactions, a person's medical history, and can design a treatment that will work particularly for this particular person. So it can assist in tailoring treatment strategies to maximize effectiveness. And now when we talk about medicine, robotic surgeries have been there for a considerable time. These robotic surgeries are helping in faster recovery, in better treatment. So even in eye surgeries, artificial intelligence can help. Artificial intelligence can help. Okay. Then after that, it can help in discovering the new drugs. It can help in discovering the new drugs. And this application will be for all the medical fields, not specifically for ophthalmology. Okay. So what it can do, it can analyze the vast data sets, can identify potential therapeutic targets, compounds, salts, their interaction with each other, and by this particular thing, it can discover potential drugs. It can discover potential drugs. Fine. So therefore, there is so much of application of AI in the field of medicine. And in order to prepare the algorithms of in the field of AI, what is needed? We need to first of all, we need to deploy AI. And for that particular thing, number one is data acquisition. Now, any AI platform will work on the basis of data. So you need to collect a lot of data with this. You need to feed it with retina scans. You need to feed with a large number of eye images of degraded conditions in the eye disease. All those information you have to feed. Then after that, you need to design the algorithm so that it is able to process it. Model development is to be done, validation, and then finally deployment will come. When we talk about validation, we need to see that whether the result, whether information that is being given, is it right or not? Is it right or not? Okay. Now moving on, further moving on. Now, when we talk about deploying AI, when we talk about deploying AI, okay, for ophthalmology, certain safeguards are needed to be kept in check. What safeguards are needed to be kept in check? One by one, let's see this. First of all, first of all, there is a need. First of all, there is a need to appropriately de-identify and anonymize the data to maintain patient privacy. Now, let's say you are making an AI program which will be able to detect the eye diseases. How it will detect? When it will see the scan, it will tell that, okay, on the basis of the scan, this person is having this disease, or this person will develop this disease after 6 months seeing the condition. Now, why, how AI is able to give you that answer? It is because it earlier has been fed with thousands and lakhs and even millions of images. On the basis of that analysis, the AI is able to tell that what is underlying condition. Now, when you are feeding it with images, scans, obviously they will be of some people. So it needs to be anonymized so that anybody's privacy is not compromised. Then after that, there is a need to clean up the data to remove artifacts of low quality images. Because of that, errors can be there. Because of that, errors can be there. Then after that, next issue that is there is that we also need to see that we also need to see that how accurate these AI models are. Only if they are accurate, then they can be deployed into the clinical practices. So they are perfect. How perfect they are, whether they are whether they are able to operate at the level of perfection, only then they are to be deployed. So these are something that is to be done. Moreover, artificial intelligence can also be used to develop smart vision glasses. Smart vision glasses. Now, what is this smart vision glasses? Many people have many uh, eyesight related issues. For example, some people, let's say there is one person who has color blindness and is not able to detect the colors properly. So basically there will be the smart glasses which will be equipped with cameras and sensors, and they can capture the user's surroundings and can transmit that particular information in audio format to the person. For example, if a person, let's say, is not able to see, the vision of that person is very much less, vision is blurred or vision is faulty, then they can detect the surroundings and can relay information that there is a person who is passing. There is this board, on this board this is written, okay, there is this truck that is going from nearby. All that information can be relayed in real time by the help of this AI algorithms. But there is one problem, that the cost of implementing AI in healthcare is expensive, it is prohibitively high, and because of that particular thing, all institutions cannot afford all institutions cannot afford to deploy AI in the actual real world usage. So this is about it. I hope that you have understood it. Now guys, this happens to be a ready made answer. This happens to be a ready made answer as how potentially AI can be used into the field of medicine. Okay, fine. There is a question. Sir, I have a question. Why UN don't play its role to end the Israel war? After all, its duty or one of principle of UN to promote peace and security. Okay, guys, understand this particular thing, that the things that you read in book and things that really happen in life are very much different. On book, you find that United Nation happens to be a body which will maintain its neutrality and will all the time be working to bring peace and harmony. But actually on the ground, it does not happen. United Nation, even UNSC, today happens to be one of the most fragmented body. For example, when we talk about United Nations Security Council, UNSC, we find this particular thing in permanent five members: US, Russia, and China. Between them, there is a rivalry that is going on. UNSC can never take a UNSC, every matter has to be decided by the consensus. But Russia, China is on opposite side, US is on opposite side. Out of five, three members, they have so big disputes. How consensus will be made? Fine, this is one problem. Second problem is that, guys, Israel, now how you can forcefully stop Israel? Israel says that we are avoiding the US. What Israel will say, Israel will say that we are fighting to protect our national interest. We have faced an act of terrorism. We have faced an act of terrorism. Secondly, Israel's number one friend is USA. Okay, and USA is never going to take any action against Israel because USA also supports that yes, this is an act of terrorism that has happened. Then we find this thing that in West Asia, a lot of countries are also supporter of Palestine. So point is that how the consensus can be formed. So on the ground, there are many of the political considerations that come, and in real politics, fine, the things often are not that easy that UN will just issue a order and the things will be resolved. So this is a very big criticism of the United Nations also, that United Nations today has become a defunct body. Okay, moving on. Fine. So here we have article, why are earthquakes frequent in Afghanistan? Why are earthquakes frequent in Afghanistan? Okay. So recently, guys, we have seen that on October 15th, there was an earthquake of magnitude 6.3 in Afghanistan. Even before that, also, there have been multiple earthquakes in Afghanistan. And in these earthquakes, hundreds and thousands of people have died. Now, this article is saying that what is the reason that so many earthquakes they impact Afghanistan? So, when we talk about, guys, earthquakes, you might be knowing this particular thing already in your geography, that how earthquakes they happen. So basically, when you see Earth's structure, so basically, guys, when we talk about the crust of Earth, let's say you remove all the trees from Earth, you remove all the soil from Earth, then you will find that Earth's crust that is there, it is not one monolithic piece. It is broken in many parts. And these parts in which the Earth's crust is broken, they are called as plates, tectonic plates. These tectonic plates are always in motion. Why they are always in motion? Because of the heat that is being generated into the core of the Earth. So always they are in motion. And these plates, sometimes they are colliding with each other, sometimes they are slipping with each other. There are many different type of interactions that these plates are doing with each other. And because of these particular interactions, for example, when two plates will slip against each other, when two plates will collide against each other, what will happen? There will be energy that will be generated, and this energy leads to seismic waves, which leads to earthquake. So understand one particular thing: any country, any region which sits on active plate boundary, any country which sits on the region where many tectonic plates are meeting or diverging or any such thing is happening, there will be a lot of earthquakes that going to happen. Okay, now understand this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about, okay, so when earthquake, already we have discussed this particular thing, how and when earthquake occurs. So earth is made up of pieces of solid rocks which are called as tectonic rocks. Okay, these rocks or these tectonic plates, they move against each other along the fault line. Okay, so basically tectonic plate, suppose this is a tectonic plate, fine, they are discontinuities where they are gliding against each other, slipping against each other, they are called as the fault lines. Okay, along the fault lines there are the earthquakes that are getting generated. Now you see this particular thing, guys. Here we have a world map in which major plates we can see. Okay, so basically, guys, somewhere here you have Afghanistan, somewhere here you have Afghanistan. So here we have Indian plate. Actually, Afghanistan is sitting on Eurasian plate. So here, let's say we have Afghanistan. Here there is Indian plate. Here there is Arabian plate. Here there is a Eurasian plate. Okay, and Afghanistan is often facing earthquakes because of these plates that are interacting. Let me explain you this thing more clearly. Let me explain you this particular thing more clearly. So basically, what happens? What happens? Afghanistan is located over multiple fault lines. I have shown you in the picture, there are multiple fault lines. Now, Indian and the Eurasian tectonic plates meet under Afghanistan. Okay, so Afghanistan is located on Eurasian plate. Now, towards the western Afghanistan, Arabian plate subducts, and towards east, the Indian plate subducts. Okay, listen this thing. So here, here you have Afghanistan. On one hand, Arabian plate is subducting, on another hand, Indian plate is subducting. And then after that, Pamir note. Hindu Kush region. Now, this region, okay, mountainous region in Afghanistan, Pamir Nod, Hindu Kush, this is also the region which has a lot of plate tectonic movements. And because of this, there are so many earthquakes, so many of the seismic waves that are generated, and it is being faced by the Afghanistan. Is it clear or not? So this is about it. Moving on to the next article. Okay. An opportunity to recast India's food system. Now, this particular article we are going to see with respect to GS paper number 3, agriculture and related issues. Agriculture and related issues. Okay. Sir, can we say Israel-Palestine war is a proxy war between Iran, China, and Russia on one side and USA, Israel on other side? You can say, because obviously vested interests are there, okay, but up till now no country have openly supported it. Are you getting it or not? For example, Hamas, many countries are still silent when the Hamas and Palestine is concerned. But yes, every war in fact includes certain other vested interest, and at the end of the day ends up in becoming a proxy war. Yes, it is true to a certain extent. Okay, what is repo rate? Repo rate is that rate at which the Reserve Bank of India will lend the money to bank. Okay, no country can better understand the challenges of a food system than India. No country can better understand the challenges of a food system better than India. Now, article talks about the food security problem in India. Now, article says this thing that when we talk about India, India has largest population in the world. Okay, and when we have largest population in the world, we need to feed them, we need to ensure their food security, and for that food production becomes essential. But and now understand, this article is talking about three angles. Angle 1 is the food production. Angle 2 is the nutritional component among us, the food that people are consuming. And front 3, that how viable farmers are getting the income from agriculture. Okay. Now, let's discuss this particular thing in little bit more detail. Now, article says that actually India, India faces a double burden of malnutrition. Now, India faces malnutrition even when we have world's largest net sown area under agriculture, and India happens to be a major agricultural food producer. So, double burden of malnutrition. Let's see. According to National Family Health Survey 5, 35% of children are stunted, 57% of women and 25% of men have anemia, iron deficiency. Also, at the other hand, 25% adult, 24% adult women and 23% adult men, they are now obesity. On one hand, there is a stunting, on another hand, there is obesity. Why? All because of the poor food choices, poor lifestyle choices. On one hand, there is obesity, on another hand, there is the stunting, malnutrition that is going on. Now, article says this particular thing that at the same time, when we talk about production side, farmers are facing insecurities. For example, they say 68% of marginal farmers, they have to supplement their income with non-farm activities. Agriculture is not viable, so they have to depend on non-farm activities. Okay. Then at the same time, natural resources, soil product. Okay, guys, is sound clear now? Yes, guys, please let me know. Is the sound fine now? Are you able to hear? Okay. Okay. Now, so what I was telling you earlier is that when we talk about, okay, just a minute. Yes. So what I was telling you earlier that many of the farmers in Haryana and Punjab, many of the farmers in Haryana and Punjab, they grow paddy, they grow rice, but for growing paddy and rice, minimum 100 centimeter of rain is needed. But in Haryana and Punjab, rain that is received on an average is 40 to 55 centimeter, but 100 centimeter minimum rain is needed. So how they are growing paddy with such less rain? By extracting groundwater, by extracting groundwater. So over exploitation of groundwater is also happening. So article is suggesting this particular thing, that we need to adopt a triad approach. We need to adopt a triad approach. Now, triad approach means that on three fronts we need to effectively focus. Number one, on consumer front. Number one, on consumer front. So article says this particular thing, that we need to ensure that consumers' diet is shifting towards healthy and sustainable diet. For example, guys, over the last few years, we have seen this particular thing, that corporates, they have promoted oats and quinoa as the superfoods. But in India, we have our own local superfoods, that is millets. We should focus on consuming millets because their nutritional profile is far more better than cereals, and social media influencers can be used for making these lifestyle food choices. For making these lifestyle food choices. Okay. The next is that we need to ensure resilient incomes for farmers. And for resilient incomes, we need to ensure that farmers go in those areas which can provide high productivity. For example, natural farming, organic farming. Okay, farming without utilizing a lot of fertilizers, because such organically grown products have a lot higher demand and they also fetch better prices. But government's focus in terms of budget has not been that much. Fine, has not been that much. It is said that overall funding is less than 1% of entire agricultural budget. Farmer need to be provided that how they can use the practices such as agroforestry, conservation of agriculture, precision farming to improve their incomes, This is something that needs to be focused upon. Then further moving on, we also need to focus on we need to shift to farm to fork, farm to fork. So we need to ensure that directly farmers should be able to send to buyers, and in between a lot of middlemen which are taking their cuts, they are needed to be minimized. And it has been provided that corporations supplying raw and processed foods to consumer, this kind of arrangement can be prioritized. But other unnecessary middlemen which are taking their cut needs to be removed. Here they have given example of Dehat and Ninja Card. Now these are enabling farm to buyer linkages, where from farm directly buyer can procure the food. So these such kind of a things need to be promoted. It will give better incomes to farmer. So three things: improve better income for farmer, ensure that lifestyle choices, food choices are good, and ensure that agriculture is also sustainable. Okay. Moving on to the next article, the shape of climate justice is in a warming India. So this article is talking about recent G20 summit that was held. And in this G20 summit, what agreements were achieved on climate change front? Climate change front. Okay. Sir, even in National Family Health Survey, 5 stunted rate is 35.5%, and according to World Hunger Index, it is 37%, which are the same line, but why government of India rejecting it? Now, guys, again understand this thing. Basic politics is there. Is it clear or not? Because this is not a good thing. Even global rate, let it whatever it be. But this is very high. That is very high. Okay. So this is the issue. Okay. Now, see. Moving on. So what has happened? What has happened? Recently, we have seen this particular thing that within the G20, Delhi Declaration has been adopted, and in this Delhi Declaration, we have we have basically the G20 summit. Many important agreements have been signed. For example, doubling the rate of energy efficiency, doubling the rate of energy efficiency, tripling, tripling the renewable energy capacity, tripling the renewable energy capacity. So triple the renewable energy, double the energy efficiency. But it was not finalized in G20 declaration that what about phasing out of the fossil fuels, phasing out of coal, phasing out of crude oil. What about that? No agreement has been signed in this particular capacity. Now, article says this particular thing, guys, that whenever energy transition is talked about, that is moving from coal to solar, moving from coal to hydroelectricity, every time whenever this energy transition is coming, there are certain issues that develop, certain issues that develop. Fine. First, internalizing the cost internalizing cost requires who those who emit greenhouse gas to pay the social and environmental cost. Second, compensation for those who are harmed. Understand this thing? Today, as we talk about climate change, today climate change has become such a big problem, and in that, rich countries have to be a very countries are a big time contributors. Rich countries are a big time contributor. Today, energy transitions are needed to be carried. Why energy transitions are needed to be carried? Because rich countries have emitted a lot of carbon, so their responsibility is there. Climate justice also provides this particular thing that people should not be harmed without the fault. Today, island nations are submerging. Today, ocean water is rising. So they are the one who are getting harmed out of this. India maintains common but differentiated responsibility. India says that ensuring climate change is everybody's responsibility, common responsibility, but response will be different. Rich countries need to do more. Rich countries need to do more. Okay. Moreover, article also says this particular thing. Article also says this particular thing. Right? That when we talk about India, when we talk about India, India has historically lower emissions. Historically lower emissions. And because we have the country which have emitted low carbon, we always say this particular thing that right now our priority reduce is not to reduce our emissions, because we have been the country which has emitted less of the carbon in the past. Let me explain you one thing very clearly. India's per capita emission happens to be the lowest, but because India has the highest population in the world, even with the low per capita emission, we become a absolute high net emitter of carbon. Okay, one of a highest emitter. But per capita emission is of India is the lowest. And because we have the lowest per capita emission, we say that right now our priority is not to reduce emission, but economic growth. And this is the most important thing. Now, this particular thing has been agreed, and this particular thing, the world country knows very clearly that climate change and energy transition that are being talked about today, they are going to disproportionately affect the poor. They are going to disproportionately affect the poor. Now, see this thing. When you will go for climate transition, when you go for energy transition, a lot of money that is just being diverted from there, that money could have been used for employment generation. Okay, so the trade off will be there. Moreover, we find this particular thing, guys, that as climate change is happening, it impacts the poor people because of the variation in rainfall, temperature, extreme climate events. Okay, this is something that is happening. This is something that is happening. Now, when we talk about India, India in the line of clean energy has already agreed as the part of India's national determined contribution that we are going to ensure 40% of India's installed power comes from clean energy. And by 2070, India has agreed that we will achieve net zero. Means our net emissions will be zero. Whatever emission we are doing and whatever we are absorbing, it will be balanced. If we are emitting 100 unit of carbon, we will absorb also 100 unit of carbon. So the net emission becomes zero. So that net emission becomes zero. This is something that India has agreed. Now, article says this particular thing that any increase in energy price, any increase in energy price, it is going to lead to a contraction in manufacturing sector. Okay. Now, further, here there is one particular link that is being made, and this is a very good example, very good analogy. Please try to use in your examinations. Now article says this particular thing that see, today we are moving towards the energy transition. We say this thing that we need to reduce the coal and we need to go for solar energy transition. But you understand which region coal is extracted. So coal is extracted from the poor states of central India, eastern India. Okay, and there large number of people are employed in the coal industry, coal mining. All of them will lost, they will lose their employment when you will transition from coal to some another sources. And when you transition from coal, you move towards wind energy, solar energy. Now, when we talk about solar energy, solar voltaic cells, industries, okay, or the hubs of solar energy, wind energy are largely in the South India and West India. These states are already rich. These states are already rich. So it is going to increase inequalities. It is going to increase inequality. Okay, that is about it. Fine. That is about it. And now, guys, next article. Are southern states being punished for their success? Are southern states being punished for their success? Now, this article we'll see for GS paper number 2, delimitation. By the way, exactly the same article we have discussed, I think 4 or 5 times earlier. And guys, in fact, many number of times I see that Hindu is repeating articles on very few themes. Okay, again and again, the same articles are being coming. Now, what has happened recently? Recently, Tamil Nadu's finance minister have said this particular thing that the southern Indian states are being given a step motherly treatment. Step motherly attitude is being shown to them. Now, a question comes that why they are not being given the nice treatment by the central government. Why they think that they are not getting nice treatment? It is because of the two things. What are these two things? Number one is a fiscal transfers. Now, what about the fiscal transfer? Let's understand this very clearly. So basically, understand this thing, guys, that finance commission, finance commission will decide that how much of revenue, how much percentage of revenue will be given by the center to the state. Okay. For example, 15th Finance Commission has provided that 41% of the revenue is to be given to the state government. Before that, 14th Finance Commission recommended that 42% of the revenue is to be given to the state government. But why 14th had 42% and 15th has 41% recommendation? It is because Jammu and Kashmir became a separate state, and Jammu and Kashmir became a union territory, and as for union territories, upkeep responsibilities of central government, so this 1% is reduced because Jammu and Kashmir become a union territory. So as per 15th Finance Commission, center will give 41% of the transfers in the favor of state. This is called as the vertical devolution. This is called as vertical devolution. The next is horizontal devolution. Means you will give this much amount, but which state will get what? That is also decided by the Finance Commission. Now, Southern Indian state says that while deciding which state will get how much, population is an important criteria. And when we see in the past few years, we have found this thing that the population of South India has reduced because of population control measures, but North India, Central India's population has increased. So because of more population, they are getting more money. They are getting more money. So population criteria is there. And the other criteria, which is wrong as per the South Indian state, is the income distance ratio. Income distance ratio. Income distance ratio means that, now see, here comes the state GDP. State GDP plays a very important role. Poorer states get more transfers. Rich states get less transfer. Now it has been said that because more population is there in the North Indian states, their per capita GDP comes down automatically. Per capita GDP comes down, and again because of this front also they get a better benefit. And it has been said that there is a decline that is going on. For example, when we talk about 10th Finance Commission, money that was transferred to Kerala during 10th Finance Commission was around 3.8% of the 3.8% of the money went to the Kerala, but now only 1.9% of the fiscal transfers are going to Kerala. So their share has went down because their population has increased, and North India's population at the same time has their population has decreased, and North India's population has increased. And as population is an important parameter, North Indian states are getting priority. North Indian states are getting priority. Now government is going to constitute 16th Finance Commission, and the 16th Finance Commission will be given its terms of reference. And in the terms of reference, it is to be ensured that 16th Finance Commission give population an objective importance. It gives population an objective importance. Okay. This is something that is there. Now, large number of South Indian states, they said that still population of 1971 is to be considered, because after 1971 the divergence has happened. Then the second controversy is with respect to the delimitation of constituencies. Now, in 2026, parliamentary constituencies will be delimitation of parliamentary constituencies will be done. It will be seen. Okay, now see, when we talk about the elections, for the sake of elections, entire nation is divided in constituencies. Entire nation is divided in constituencies. One constituency is represented by one member. When we divide these constituencies, we ensure that in every constituency there will be similar number of population. Every constituency should have similar number of population, so that every person is representing similar number of people. But over the periods, some areas population go up, some areas population come down. So from time to time, these constituencies are to be again they are to be divided, and dividing these constituencies, fine, on the basis of population is called as delimitation. Now in 2026, delimitation will happen. 2026 delimitation will happen. Now it is being provided that the states having more population will get more constituencies. State having less population will get less constituencies. And on that basis, the political power of that state will be determined. State having more constituencies mean more MP in parliament. Now here also South India is going to face a loss. South India is going to face a loss. So therefore it has been provided that these injustices that is happening should not happen. These things have been provided. So this is guys all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to next article. Major regional disparity in overcoming cancer, those survival rates are up. Now guys, this article, what it is talking about, it is talking about a new study that has been published into the Lancet Regional Health Southeast Asia Survey, and it provides that between 2012 to 2015, patient diagnosed with cervical cancer, okay, it has been said that 52% of the patients diagnosed with cervical cancer, they survived. So here, the survival rate, okay, survival rates of the people with cervical cancers have been given. Now, you are not really required to go too much in detail and need not to see state-wise data. Overall, it is 52%. Okay, that is all guys about this particular article. No need to go too much in detail in this. That is, and now we'll move to the main practice question for today. So question reads, depleting natural resources and changing climate are making India's food production highly vulnerable. Discuss. So this is the article for this is the question for GS paper number 3, 10 mark. So that is all guys, and with this we come to an end to the today's session. Thank you so much.